Fisher.
Hi, and welcome back to Focal Point AFR Talk. Brian Fisher is my name. This is the second hour of this Tuesday edition of Focal Point. Great to have you on board the USS Focal Point, our patrol boat in which we patrol the choppy waters of America's public life, looking for the intersection, the coordinates where truth intersects with politics. Our commander is on the bridge. The scriptures serve as our nautical charts. The Holy Spirit as our navigator, and I serve as your loyal, humble, and cheerful first mate. Let's grab a phone call right off the bat to start the second hour. Let's go to Jim in Dallas, Texas. Jim, welcome to Focal Point. What's on your mind? Jim, are you there? Okay, one more try. Jim, I want to give you a shot. Are you there? Can you hear me? All right, looks like we missed Jim. Jim, if you hear me, give us a call back and we'll try to get you on. Now, I want to play I want to read to you a George Orwell quote. I don't know if you caught the intro that Jeff put together, the teaser for the first hour, and he had an excerpt from the George Orwell movie, 1984. That's the Big Brother movie. And it's just kind of eerily prescient of what's going on with the NSA. In fact, the scandal broke on the 64th anniversary of the publication of the book 1984. Now, here is what one of the characters says in this book, and see if this sounds like an administration or a political party or a political movement that you recognize. Here it is. Now I will tell you the answer to my question. It is this: the party seeks power entirely for its own sake. We are not interested in the good of others. We are interested solely in power, pure power. What pure power means, you will understand presently. We are different from the oligarchies of the past in that we know what we are doing. All the others, even those who resembled ourselves, were cowards and hypocrites. The German Nazis and the Russian communists came very close to us in their methods, but they never had the courage to recognize their own motives. They pretended, perhaps they even believed, that they had seized power unwillingly and for a limited time, and that just around the corner there lay a paradise where human beings would be free and equal. We are not like that. We know that no one ever seizes power with the intention of relinquishing it. Power is not a means, it is an end. One does not establish a dictatorship in order to safeguard a revolution. One makes the revolution in order to establish the dictatorship. The object of persecution is persecution. The object of torture is torture. The object of power is power. Now you begin to understand me. Now, it's interesting to watch how the media has reacted to this, even the left-wing media. Let's grab clip number 5. This is Glenn Greenwald. He's the guy that broke this story on the London newspaper, The Guardian. And again, remember, we got 4 or 5 scandals now. We got a State Department scandal, talk about here in a second, that's under Hillary Clinton's watch. This is prostitution rings, drug rings, an ambassador soliciting minors for sexual activity, meeting prostitutes in the park for public sex. I mean, it's a huge scandal. And the State Department under Hillary Clinton called off the investigation into all this stuff. Hillary Clinton's people said, I don't want you looking into that. I don't want you investigating that. I don't want you poking into that. Just leave these people alone. All the prostitution, all the drugs, the corruption, you leave that all alone. But now Glenn, and so we got 5 major scandals out there. The American media, the mainstream American media, didn't break a single one of these stories, not one. Every one of these is broken by some other source. 2 of them by the British media, including this NSA one. Here's Glenn Greenwald. He's on with Savannah Guthrie on the snooping of the NSA, and he catches Savannah Guthrie doing one of these linguistic sort of sleights of hand where what Edward Snowden said is that I had the authority to tap anybody I wanted, including even the President of the United States. If I got an email, I had the authority even to tap his emails. And she added the word legal. She accused Edward Snowden of saying that he had the legal authority to do what he did. That is not what Snowden said. He didn't say anything about legal whatsoever. In fact, that's the whole reason he's blowing the whistle, is because this is illegal and it is unconstitutional. What he said, and this is what Glenn Greenwald explains here, is that what he said is he had permission to do this stuff. Let's listen.
That isn't what he said. He didn't say he had the legal authority. That's a word that you included in the statement that he didn't actually include. What he meant clearly was that given... Yeah, he said authority, not legal authority, which is what you just quoted him as saying. And what I'm telling you is that that is a misquotation, because what he was clearly saying was that, and the point that you ought to be interested in as a journalist more so than the one that you asked, is that people who sit at the NSA desk, thousands of them, have the authority, meaning the NSA has given them the power to be able to go in and scrutinize the communications of any American. It may not be legal, but they have the power to do it.
Well, it certainly is not only not legal, it's not constitutional, and therefore grossly, absolutely, totally, 100% impermissible and wrong. And you got Republicans out there that are hacking and flacking for this guy or for the government on this, saying this guy ought to be extradited, he ought to be tried for treason, he ought to be executed. Now, I don't know. I mean, he knows he's going to experience legal consequences. He knows he's breaking the law. He knows that. He's aware of that. That's why he fled to Hong Kong. So he's not unaware of the consequences of his behavior, and he's going to have to face the music for what he did. But my point is, what he exposed was the real betrayal of the country. He's not the one that betrayed the country. It was the people at the NSA under the leadership of this president that are betraying the country, betraying the Constitution. Now, clip number 6. This is Garrett. I'm forgetting his last name. Reporter, used to be for Fox. He's now at CBS. I can't think of his last name. His first or last name was Garrett. Anyway, he's talking to Charlie Rose and to Norah O'Donnell about this NSA scandal, and he's saying, look, this is trouble for Barack Obama. Even the mainstream media is saying, look, this is trouble for Barack Obama.
But through this all, Charlie and Norah, the White House has had to admit a politically and tactically startling truth. It conducts more surveillance than the Bush White House. The Obama administration insists that it has built many more safeguards and checks and balances within that surveillance, but it would have preferred not to admit the surveillance, and now it knows it's going to have to prove in the court of public opinion all the safeguards and checks and balances is built around that surveillance.
So he's saying, reporter for CBS News, he's saying, look, what's coming out is that the Obama administration is guilty of far more snooping and surveillance even than the Bush administration. When we come back, and Jeff, you might want to have that ready to go. When we come back, I want to play you a montage that CNN put together of statements that Bush made defending the surveillance program and statements that Obama made defending the surveillance program. And CNN put a pastiche together, a montage together of their statements, and they sound like they're reading off the same sheet of music. We'll talk about the implications of that when we come back. Focal Point AFR Talk.